CEO is infertile with all women. But this poor student birthed triplets after first night. Imagine this. A man at the peak of his success, admired by millions, envied by many, and yet carrying a secret that could shatter everything he's built. He's powerful, wealthy, and seemingly untouchable. But inside, he's crumbling under the weight of something he can't control. His name is Adrian Carter, CEO of one of the largest tech companies in the world. On paper, he has it all, except for one thing, a family. Not because he doesn't want one, but because he physically can't have one. Doctors have confirmed what Adrian already feared. He's infertile. With every woman, every test, every specialist, every attempt ends in disappointment. But as fate would have it, life has a way of throwing curveballs. When you least expect them, enter Mia Harper, an ordinary college student, struggling to make ends meet. She works 2 part-time jobs while juggling her studies, dreaming of a future where she won't have to count every penny just to survive. One fateful night, Mia crosses paths with Adrian during a charity gala, a rare event she attended only because her roommate begged her to go. The moment their eyes meet, there's an undeniable spark between them, though neither understands why. What starts as an innocent conversation over champagne quickly escalates into something neither of them saw coming, and then, against all odds, they end up spending the night together. It's impulsive, unexpected, and something both will question later. But little do they know, this single night will change their lives forever. Fast forward 9 months, and Mia finds herself sitting in a doctor's office, staring blankly at the ultrasound screen. Triplets, 3 heartbeats, 3 tiny miracles growing inside her. Her mind races as she tries to process how this happened. Not just biologically, but emotionally. She barely knows Adrian beyond that. One fleeting encounter, and now she's carrying his children. Meanwhile, Adrian remains oblivious to any of this. His days are consumed by board meetings, product launches, and trying to fill the void left by his inability to start a family. He tells himself he's accepted his fate, but deep down, the longing lingers like an open wound. The story unfolds against the backdrop of contrasts. Adrian's luxurious penthouse, overlooking the city, versus Mia's cramped studio apartment, filled with second-hand furniture. Their worlds couldn't be more different, yet they're about to collide in ways neither could predict. As Mia grapples with whether or not to tell Adrian about the babies, she wrestles with questions of fairness, responsibility, and fear. Will he believe her? Will he even care? After all, everyone knows infertility is a deeply personal struggle, and revealing such news might feel like rubbing salt in an already painful wound. For Adrian, meanwhile, his carefully constructed facade begins to crack when rumors surface about a mysterious young woman claiming to carry his child. At first, he dismisses it as gossip, but as details emerge, doubt creeps in. Could it really be possible? What makes this story so compelling isn't just the dramatic twist of fate, it's the human element behind it. Both characters are flawed, relatable, and searching for meaning in their own ways. Adrian represents ambition and sacrifice, someone who gave up so much to climb the ladder of success, only to realize too late that some things can't be bought or achieved through hard work alone. Mia embodies resilience and hope, proving that sometimes strength comes from the most unlikely places. Together, they form a narrative that explores themes of love, identity, and the unbreakable bond between parent and child, even before birth. As tensions rise, we see glimpses of their inner struggles. Adrian wrestles with guilt over his past, decisions, wondering if karma is finally catching up to him. Did he prioritize his career over relationships for too long? Is this some cosmic punishment for putting work above everything else? Meanwhile, Mia faces judgment from those around her, including skeptical friends who question how she ended 3 pregnancies after one random hookup. The societal pressure weighs heavily on her shoulders, forcing her to confront her own insecurities. Yet amidst the chaos, moments of tenderness shine through, like when Mia talks to her belly, imagining what kind of father Adrian might be if given the chance. But just as things seem poised to come to a head, another twist throws everything off balance. A rival businessman, aware of Adrian's private struggles, leaks confidential medical records to the press. In an attempt to tarnish his reputation, suddenly, Adrian's infertility becomes public knowledge, sparking a media frenzy. Headlines scream accusations of hypocrisy, pointing out the irony of a billionaire unable to produce an heir. The scandal threatens to destroy not only Adrian's company, but also his fragile sense of self-worth. In the midst of this storm, Mia watches silently from afar, torn between stepping forward to defend him and protecting herself and her unborn children from becoming collateral damage. And then, just when it seems like the situation can't get any more complicated, a letter arrives at Adrian's office. It's unsigned, written in shaky handwriting, and contains just 6 words. "You're going to be a father." The message sends shockwaves through Adrian, leaving him reeling with questions. Who sent it? Is it real? Could it actually be true? Desperate for answers, he begins retracing his steps, piecing together fragments of memory from that night at the gala. Each clue brings him closer to uncovering the truth, but also closer to confronting emotions he's spent years burying. This is where our story pauses, teetering on the edge of revelation. Will Adrian find Mia before it's too late? How will he react when he learns about the triplets? And perhaps most importantly, what does this mean for their futures? For better or worse? Love, betrayal, secrets, and destiny intertwine in a tale that challenges everything we think we know about family, biology, and the ties that bind us. Stay tuned to find out what happens next, because trust me, you won't see this ending coming. Adrian stares at the letter, his hands trembling slightly, as he reads those 6 words over and over again. The room feels suffocating, the hum of his office lights suddenly unbearable. He's spent years building walls around himself, walls designed to keep people out and shield him from vulnerability. But now, it feels like they're crumbling, one brick at a time. His mind races back to that night at the gala, piecing together fleeting images of Mia, her soft smile, the way she laughed when he told a joke about his failed attempts at cooking pasta, the warmth in her voice when she talked about her dreams. Was she the one who sent this? And if so, why now? Why after all these months? Meanwhile, Mia sits on the edge of her bed, staring at her phone with a mix of fear and determination. She knows she can't stay silent forever. The weight of carrying 3 lives inside her is heavy enough without adding the burden of secrecy. Yet every time she picks up the phone to dial Adrian's number, doubt creeps in. What if he doesn't believe her? Worse still, what if he does but reacts badly? She's seen how ruthless the media has been since the leak about his infertility. The thought of dragging her unborn children into that kind of spotlight terrifies her. Still, something deep inside tells her that hiding isn't an option anymore. These babies deserve to know their father, even if he isn't ready to be one. As both characters wrestle with their inner turmoil, the world outside continues spinning faster than either of them can keep up with. The scandal surrounding Adrian grows uglier by the day. Fueled by opportunistic journalists eager to capitalize on his downfall, one tabloid runs a headline calling him the billionaire without an heir, while another speculates wildly about whether his infertility could threaten the future of his company. Employees within his organization begin whispering behind closed doors, questioning whether someone else should take the reins. Even his closest allies start distancing themselves, unsure of how long Adrian will remain untouchable in the face of such public scrutiny. Amidst the chaos, a subplot begins to unfold, involving Adrian's estranged sister, Claire. Years ago, they had a falling out over their father's estate, a bitter legal battle that left their relationship fractured beyond repair. But now, seeing her brother crumble under the pressure, Claire starts reconsidering her stance. She reaches out hesitantly, leaving a voicemail asking if they can talk. At first, Adrian ignores it, too consumed by his own problems to deal with old wounds. However, as the days pass and the isolation becomes unbearable, he finds himself listening to her message again. There's a raw honesty in her voice that cuts through the noise in his head. Maybe she's right. Maybe he needs someone on his side right now. Back in Mia's world, her best friend and confidant, Sophie, plays a crucial role in helping her navigate this impossible situation. Sophie is fiercely protective of Mia, often acting as both a sounding board and a shield against judgmental comments from others. When Mia finally breaks down and tells her everything, the night with Adrian, the pregnancy, the anonymous letter, Sophie listens quietly before offering advice. You owe it to yourself and those babies to tell him the truth, she says firmly. But you don't have to do it alone. I'll be there every step of the way. With Sophie's encouragement, Mia drafts a heartfelt email to Adrian, explaining everything and attaching copies of her medical records as proof. It takes hours to write, delete, and rewrite until she feels it strikes the right balance between vulnerability and strength. When Adrian receives the email late one evening, he's sitting alone in his dimly lit penthouse, nursing a glass of whiskey. At first glance, he almost dismisses it as another attempt to exploit him for money or fame. But as he scrolls through the contents, his breath catches in his throat. The scans, the doctor's notes, the detailed timeline. It all seems legitimate. For the first time in months, hope flickers inside him. Fragile yet undeniable. Could this really be happening? Could he actually become a father, despite everything science said was impossible? Determined to get answers, Adrian hires a private investigator to track down Mia. He wants to meet her face to face, to look into her eyes and see if she's telling the truth. The PI works quickly, locating her apartment within 48 hours. When Adrian shows up unannounced, standing nervously outside her door, Mia freezes. She wasn't expecting him to act so fast, or at all. For a moment, neither of them speaks. Then, summoning every ounce of courage she has, Mia invites him inside. They sit across from each other at her tiny kitchen table, the air thick with unspoken questions and emotions. Adrian breaks the silence first, his voice shaky but sincere. Are you really carrying my children? The conversation that follows is raw and emotional, each word heavy with implications. Neither of them fully understands yet. Mia explains how shocked she was to discover the triplets, how scared she felt, knowing she'd have to raise them alone. Adrian, in turn, shares his struggles with infertility and the pain of watching his dreams of fatherhood slip away. As they talk, something shifts between them. Not quite forgiveness, not quite trust, but perhaps the beginnings of understanding. By the end of the night, they agree to work together for the sake of the babies. But even as they shake hands, On this fragile truce, tensions linger beneath the surface. Just when it seems like things might settle into a new rhythm, another bombshell drops. A rival CEO files a lawsuit against Adrian's company, claiming that his personal scandals make him unfit to lead. The court date is set for just weeks before Mia's due date, forcing Adrian to juggle multiple crises simultaneously. Meanwhile, Mia discovers that someone, possibly connected to the same rival businessman, is following her, snapping photos of her growing belly and posting them online with malicious captions. Fear grips her heart, not just for herself, but for her unborn children. Who would go this far to destroy Adrian, and why? With the stakes higher than ever, Adrian and Mia find themselves drawn closer together, united by a shared sense of purpose. Yet trust remains elusive, hovering just out of reach like a mirage in the desert. As the trial approaches and Mia's delivery date looms nearer, the tension reaches a breaking point. Will Adrian be able to clear his name and protect his family? Or will the forces working against him succeed in tearing everything apart? Every decision they make carries consequences neither of them can fully anticipate, leaving viewers on the edge of their seats, desperate to know how it all ends. The night before the trial, Adrian sits alone in his office, staring at a photo of Mia and the latest ultrasound image she sent him. It's surreal to think that these 3 tiny lives, 3 heartbeats, are growing inside someone he barely knows, but feels inexplicably connected to. He realizes now how much he wants this, not just for himself, but for them. For the first time in years, he feels a sense of purpose beyond profit margins and boardroom victories. But as dawn breaks, reality crashes back in. The lawsuit looms over him like a storm cloud, threatening everything he's worked for and the fragile family he's only beginning to build. Meanwhile, Mia lies awake in her apartment, clutching her phone. She's been receiving anonymous messages all week, each one more menacing than the last. "Stay out of his life," one reads. Another warns, "You'll regret ever meeting him." Fear coils around her chest, tightening with every notification sound. Yet despite the threats, she refuses to back down. These babies are hers, and Adrian's, and no one will take that away from them. With Sophie by her side, she files a police report, hoping it might deter whoever is behind the harassment. Still, doubt lingers in her mind. Will they be safe? Once the truth comes out, the day of the trial arrives, and the courtroom buzzes with tension. Reporters crowd outside, cameras flashing as Adrian walks in, his face stoic, but his hands clenched into fists. Inside, the rival CEO smirks confidently, convinced he has the upper hand. As the proceedings begin, evidence mounts against Adrian, emails, taken out of context, doctored financial reports, even testimony from former employees who claim his leadership faltered under stress. Just when it seems like all hope is lost, Claire steps forward. Against everyone's expectations, she testifies on Adrian's behalf, recounting their father's legacy and how Adrian carried the company through its darkest days. Her words resonate deeply, shifting the tide just enough to give him a fighting chance. But the real turning point comes when Mia enters the courtroom unexpectedly. She wasn't planning to attend, fearful of drawing attention to herself or the triplets. However, after hearing about the smear campaign against Adrian, she decides she can't stay silent any longer. Walking up to the stand, visibly pregnant and radiating quiet strength, she tells the judge and jury about the night she met Adrian, the discovery of her pregnancy, and the lengths she's gone to protect their unborn children. Her honesty disarms even the harshest skeptics, and when she produces medical records, confirming Adrian's biological connection to the triplets. The room falls silent. The rival CEO's lawyer scrambles to discredit her, but the damage is done. The jury deliberates for hours before returning a verdict. Adrian wins the case. With the legal battle behind him, Adrian wastes no time reaching out to Mia. This time, there's no hesitation, no walls between them. He meets her at the park where she often walks to clear her mind, holding a bouquet of wildflowers he picked up along the way. When she sees him, her eyes light up, though she tries to play it cool. They sit together on a bench, talking openly about their fears, hopes, and dreams. For themselves and for the triplets, Adrian admits he doesn't have all the answers, but he promises to be there for her and the babies. No matter what, for the first time, Mia allows herself to believe him. As the weeks pass, their bond deepens. Adrian moves Mia into a cozy house near his penthouse, ensuring she has everything she needs for the final stretch of her pregnancy. Together, they decorate the nursery, choosing soft pastel colors and filling it with stuffed animals and handmade blankets. Claire becomes a regular visitor, bonding with Mia over shared stories of growing up in the shadow of their father's legacy. Even Sophie joins in, helping plan a small baby shower that turns into an impromptu celebration of new beginnings. Then, one snowy December morning, Mia goes into labor. Adrian rushes to the hospital, his heart pounding as he paces the waiting room. Hours later, the doctor emerges with a smile, announcing the safe arrival of 3 healthy babies, 2 boys and a girl. Adrian steps into the delivery room, tears streaming down his face as he holds his newborn son for the first time. Mia watches him, exhausted but glowing, as he gently cradles each child in turn. In that moment, all the pain, fear, and uncertainty melt away, replaced by pure joy. In the months that follow, Adrian and Mia navigate the challenges of parenthood together. They're not perfect. They argue, they stumble, they second-guess themselves, but they face it all as a team. The media eventually loses interest in their story, focusing instead on other scandals. Adrian steps down as CEO, handing the reins to a trusted colleague while he focuses on raising his family. Mia finishes her degree, inspired by Adrian's support to pursue a career in social work, helping others facing similar struggles. Looking back, both realize how much they've grown, not just as individuals, but as partners. What started as a chance encounter blossomed into something neither could have imagined. A family built on love, trust, and resilience. Their journey reminds us that life's greatest miracles often come when we least expect them. And sometimes, the hardest battles lead to the most beautiful victories. As Adrian tucks his youngest child into bed one evening, he whispers, "We did it, Mia. Against all odds, we did it." And for the first time in his life, he truly believes it.